Hi everyone, it's Angel here from Angel Designs, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to make this cute little guy. So this is a nice little Christmas tree ornament, just a little snowman head. It's not very tricky, just has a few different pieces of things you need to have on hand in order to make it. You'll notice it's got the safety eyes. If you were more comfortable, if you have little ones around, you could just as easily just crochet some black little circles and sew them on so that you're not worried about any potential choking hazard if you have any little ones around. But I do have some safety eyes to use for ours today. So this works up a little quicker than you might think, and very easily customizable with the color yarn you use for your hat. So now the safety eyes, back to those for a second. I just got these off of Amazon. These are 10mm, and it was a pack of 60 sets. And I think I got them for like 10 bucks because I make like the teddy bears and stuff too. So I just happen to use the same size eyes that I need for that. So it works out well. You will be needing a 5mm or whatever suitable size crochet hook you need. Now on the pattern, which I will put in the link to it in the description, it takes you to the website and you just have to scroll down to find the one you're looking for. It gives you different hook sizes. Like if you're using a light worsted or a DK yarn, use a 4mm hook. An Aran or a worsted weight yarn, 5mm hook, which is what I have here for today because I'm just using scraps of my worsted weight. If you're using a chunky or a bulky, use a 6mm hook. These don't take very much yarn. So again, I'm just using scraps that I had on hand. Now, like I said, I've got the two safety eyes. You're gonna need your tapestry or yarn needle for sewing, some scissors. This here, because you need a little bit of black for his little mouth. This was just a strand of worsted weight that I split so that I can get some thinner strands, and that's what I'll use to make his mouth. I have some yarn, orange that I had for his little nose, his carrot, and some different colors for his hat. I thought I would do the main part of the hat in this, and then I have a nice kind of like glittery pearl kind of Aran color for the brim and the pom-pom. And I have some polyfill stuffing, and I have white for the main body. So again, it doesn't take much. These work up super quick. I'll put the link to the pattern and any other applicable, look at that, I got a knot in my yarn, haven't even started, any applicable tutorials from before. So this is the little guy we're gonna make, all right? So this is going back to using the magic ring, and it says about using a stitch marker, and all I do is I just make an extra long tail with my magic ring and just feed that up in. That way you don't have to like weave your end in at the end either. So to make your magic ring, and I know sometimes this white might be a little hard to see on the white background, so bear with me here. So you're going to make your magic ring. You're going to have your long tail on the side, just loop around, and then you're going to pull your hook up, pull up the main yarn, and just make a single crochet. And this doesn't count, this just anchors your magic ring. Okay, so with your ring made, and this is the longer tail, we're going to put 6 single crochets in the magic ring. So again, this one does not count. And don't worry about how big you've got your loop right now because we are going to pull it closed, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And again, it's a little tricky to hold on to at the beginning just because it is a fairly loose. So now that you got that, pull it closed. And you're going to pull it fairly tight. And that's what I'm going to use here. This tail that's left in my magic ring is what I'm going to use to keep track of where my start of my rows and that are. So for round 2, you're going to put 2 single crochets in each of the previous ones. If you're not sure where to start, and sometimes I still have to do this, I count backwards. So we made 6, so 1, 2, get that out of the way just for a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where we're going to put our first set of 2 single crochets in that stitch there. Okay. So make sure you get both your loops. And we didn't slip stitch to join, we're working in the round. And your first one, because sometimes it's a little tight, you have to kind of wiggle it in there. So 1, 2, and we're going to do 2 in each around here. So it's going to be a total of 12. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that finishes round 2. Again, also don't worry if your hole in the middle starts to open up. Just give it a tug to tighten it up again. There we go. And then I'm moving that tail up so I can start for my next row, my next round. So for the next round, and again, if you've seen any of the previous patterns that involve working in the round, you'll know that we're going to slowly increase. So what we're going to do for round 3 is we're going to put a single crochet in the first one, and then 2 in the second one. 1, 2. And that's what we're going to repeat around. A single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next. And just keep doing that until you get back to the beginning. And don't be afraid to, when you get to the end of the round, if you are unsure if you've done it correctly, go back and count your stitches, because you can never, it never hurts to double check, because I know I just was looking up at the pattern for a split second and I got a little distracted. So I ended up here with 2 single crochets in my last stitch. That should be the end of it. So right now at the end of this we should have 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We do. So I did not mess up, but it never hurts to double check. So we're going to pull our yarn tail up in front of us so that we have it to keep track. So now for the next one, we're going to put, it kind of alternates so that you don't have like a gap. So last row we did a single crochet followed by 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. Now we're going to do the increase first. So we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1, 2, followed by a single crochet in each of the next 2. And this is going to be our repeat for a round. 2 single crochets in the next, followed by a single crochet in each of the next 2. And you're going to repeat that until you get to the end here. So 1, 2, and these make nice little stocking stuffers, or even just if you have a nice package that you've wrapped up, if you want to attach one on when you put the bow on, that way they can use it year after year. I know I'm making quite a number of these for the craft fair that I'm in. So they're a cute little gift, and things, I find things that are homemade are a lot nicer to get, because it shows that somebody put the time and effort in and the thought to think of you. All right, so then we're gonna go 1 and 2. So again, doesn't hurt to double count. We should have 24 now. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, and 24. We do. Perfect. So that was round 4. So now for round 5, it's got us going back to doing the single crochet in the first 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, followed by the increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And it just has us alternating how we're doing that, so that it gives a nice even fabric and you don't have gaps. So it makes it nice so that when you stuff it, you can't see like a definitive line where you've done all your increases in the same kind of section. So if you want to press pause on here until you get all the way around to the beginning, and just do your repeat of single crocheting in the next 3, followed by 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and I'll meet you back here at the end of round 5. Be right back. Okay, so I reached the end of round 5, and I've double checked, and I do have my 30 stitches. And you'll find the stitch count is at the end of the rounds on the pattern as well, okay? So now for round 6, 7, 8, and 9, you are just going to do a single crochet all the way around. So just single crochet in each stitch, so you'll have 30 stitches at the end of every round. You're not doing any more increases. So if you want to press pause on me here again and do your round 6 to 9, and then meet me back here and we'll go over about putting the face and the eyes and that on. I'll be right back. Okay, so after you finished your round 6 to 9, this is what you should have. It looks like a little cup. Now I've already gone ahead and I'll show you what I've done here. You're not fastening off or anything. But now that you're going to be ready to do the face, it wants you to add your nose over round 5 in between increases. So I just started here and I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I went from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which makes sense because then it was 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so again, sorry if that was off camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I just kind of put that there to show me where that was, which again, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it says to add the nose between a set of increases. So I just found a spot. You can see there's 2 single crochets in 1 stitch here, and then there's 2 single crochets in 1 stitch here. So what I'm going to do is take my yarn needle and put my orange yarn on it. And just cut off a length. And then in between, I'm going to make a stitch along the top of the middle 3 stitches. So I'm coming in, and I'm just going to leave a bit of a tail here and just kind of tuck that in and just hold on to it. So I'm going to take this out because we now know where we're at. And then we're going to find where the other is. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there was our 2 together in 1 stitch, and there's our next one just over here where we did. We're going to go in through that. And what I like to do is I don't pull it tight. I just secure it, because you don't need to be weaving the ends in when you can kind of hide them inside when you stuff it. No one's going to see the inside of this, so it doesn't need to be all like when you're doing a blanket or a sweater where you have to have it all nice and pretty. So then what you're going to do is you're going to make longer stitches from the base of the outer stitches to the other. So what I like to do is I come back in through here. I'm trying not to tangle up all my yarn, and I just did what I didn't want to do. Let me get it back on my, I managed to somehow wrap it around my working yarn of the white. So 1 second here, let's get this back on the needle. So we're going to come back in through there. And then it says, double the 4 times, be careful. So you're going to just go down to the next row. And you're going to fill in his little nose. It doesn't have to be perfect. And don't pull it too tight, because then it'll look a little weird. Okay? So don't pull it tight. And sometimes, depending on how your stitches go, I've had to go back over a couple of spots just to kind of make it so it's not so noticeable. And I'm trying to catch some of the fibers of the yarn below so that it's got something to hold on to, if that makes sense. Because if you just go right into the holes, sometimes, so see here how you can kind of see, I'll go back in to the bottom and just try to, there we go. See, that fills his nose in a little bit better. And same with here, I'll put another one in there just to kind of fill it up. Because I think what happens is the needle is going to the left or the right of the yarn, and it's not going through it, and it's kind of just sliding and leaving an opening. So there. So then I'm just going to take that same yarn that we had at the beginning and tie it together, but don't pull it tight. I'm going to take my needle off just to make it a little easier here. And I'll just trim off the extra because it's not going to go anywhere. So there, we have the eyes in. Now it says a bit, or we have the nose in. Now for the safety eyes. You can kind of see where it is on here, but it says add eyes 1 round above the nose using the stitch gap in line with the outer edge of the nose. So outer edge, and what you can do is just kind of place them to see if you like where they're at. And if you don't, you can kind of move them around a little bit before you put the backs on. Before you put the back on them. I think that's a good spot there for his little eyes. I think that looks cute. So we're going to turn around and put the backs on them and give them a good squeeze. And there's our eyes. So then it says to embroider the mouth. Now, if you are good at the embroidery and you're like, oh, I got this. Embroidery has never been one of my very strong suits. So I will do as best I can as soon as I get this yarn apart here. It's the downfall of trying to use, if you had nice like DMC floss in black or whatever, feel free to use that. I just did not have anything like that around. And that is all tangled. So let me just trim that off, set that aside. We should have enough here. You have to be careful too, doing it the way I'm doing it, that you don't, like that the yarn doesn't just split on you, like rip. So it says for the mouth, use black or pink or it says, or even split the piles of yarn to make a thread and strand. Start by threading out through the base of one of the increased stitches next to the nose and into the round below. So again, I'm trying to get it in between the yarn there, and we'll just hold it back here for a minute. Then we're going to come in down through. Again, try not to go right in the holes, and just to anchor it, I'm going to tie a little knot like I did with the orange. You don't need a whole lot here. Just enough to anchor it. And again, don't pull it too tight so that it's not going to pull your stitches. So then we're going to come down. I don't like the placement of that. We're going to come down, split in here, and go back up into this one. We're going to go across to the middle. Oop. Put it back on our needle. And then we're going to come back and go into where we just finished off the previous one. Then we're going to come over here and back. Then we're going to go up. Again, I'm trying to get it so it's not just right in the hole, so that it'll have something to hang on to. And then we'll just knot this off here at the end. And snip. So there's a little mouth. So now we're going to put our hook back in our yarn, and we're going to finish with the head. So we're going to start on round 10 and just move your strand in front so that you know where you're at for a sturdy row. We're going to start our decreases. So we're going to do a decrease, which is you're going to go in as if you're doing a single crochet but not finish it, and then you're going into the next one and yarn over and pulling through so that you have 3 loops on your hook, which is carried over 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through all 3. Then we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to do a decrease, which is single crocheting 2 together. So yarn, hook in, yarn over, pull through, don't finish your single crochet. Then you're going to put your hook in, yarn over, pull through in the next stitch, 3 stitches, yarn over, pull through all 3, so you do a decrease. We're going to repeat this across. So single crochet 3, do a decrease, single crochet 3, followed by a decrease, and just keep on going. 1, 2, 3, do a decrease, 1, 2, 3, and a decrease, followed by 3 single crochets. So for round 11, we're going to move our marker up, and we're going to do single crochet in the next 2 stitches, again alternating where we start increasing, decreasing, and the such, like we did before. Then we're going to decrease a stitch, single crochet 2, decrease, single crochet 2, decrease, single crochet 2, decrease, single crochet 2, get near the end there, do another decrease, single crochet 2, and then our last decrease of the round. There we go, pull our yarn forward. Now it says here, fill the head firmly. So I have my polyfill here. And you want to do it firmly, but you don't want to do it in such a way that you start spreading your stitches apart a lot. So for round 12, we're going to do a decrease followed by a single crochet, and you have to kind of hold the stuffing in a little bit. This gets, so single crochet, decrease, and as you're going around you may have to kind of push it back in, single crochet, it'll like to try to get away from you, decrease. The top of the snowman's head, because it gets covered with a hat, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, so don't stress if it looks like it's spreading apart a little bit or if you don't have it quite uniform. It's very forgiving because it's underneath the hat. Okay, and that's why too there's not as many decreases and increases decreases like there was the increase rounds in the beginning, because the part that's visible needed to be a little more aesthetically pleasing. All right, so we finished that row. Again, we just have to kind of make sure his stuffing stays where it belongs. I'm going to move this extra blob of stuffing out of the way here. So now we have one more round of decreases, which is just 6 decreases in a row. So we're going to decrease, 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 decrease. You're just constantly decreasing. There's no stitches in between each one until you get around to the end. And don't panic if sometimes you pull a bit of stuffing through. That's typical. It's the last one here. Now, what am I caught on? Caught on another stitch. There we go. Now, you can safely cut your tail that you were using as the marker, because we're done with that. But when it comes time for fastening off the top part here, make sure you leave yourself a good, I'd say 8 inches, okay, of your white. Because here's why. You're going to fasten off with that long tail. You're going to take your yarn needle, attach that, put your yarn on that, and just, I like to do this. Depending on how long you want, because this is what's going to come out through the top of his hat to hold it for on your tree. Now you can use yarn, which I like to do, or you can turn around and attach a nice ribbon. So all I'm going to do here is tie this at the base with a knot, and just the little loose end, pull a needle in through here and just trim that off so that it kind of gets sucked in. So I'm going to have this to go up through the hat. So now we're going to move on to the hat. So you need to do the mini hat. So using whatever your main color is, and I'm going to use this burgundy, we're going to start with a magic ring again. So again, leave a fairly long tail, just make your loop, hook goes in through and pulls up the working yarn, and just do a single crochet, so that the yarn is, so that your magic ring is closed, and that does not count. So much like when we started the other, we're going to put 6 single crochets into the magic ring. And again, sometimes this is flimsy and you have to kind of be careful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you're going to pull that closed. So then we're going to do like we did before. We're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So I know if you need to count backwards to find where you need to start, you do that. I'm familiar with where I need to be here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And again, don't worry if your ring seems to have slid apart, tighten it up. Once you get a couple of rounds in, it stays like that anyway. All right, so that's the end of round 2. For round 3, we're back to doing a single crochet and an increase. So we're going to go 1, and then 2 in the same one to do our increase. 1, 2, followed by 1, and we're going to do this all the way around. 1, 2, 2, 1, and then our last increase. 1, 2. And again, make sure if you're not totally sure about your counts, just do a quick little count of your stitches, all right? So that was round 3. So for round 4, we're going to do an increase. So 2 single crochets in that stitch. And then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 2. And repeat that around. 1, 2, 1, 2, followed by 2, 1 in each of the next 2, 1, 2, and we're just going to keep going with that repeat pattern until we get to the end of the round. Here we go. So that's round 4. Round 5 is the last of the increases. So you do a single crochet in each of the next 3, followed by an increase of putting a single crochet twice in the next stitch. So then single crochet in 3, followed by your increase. We're going to just keep doing that around. I'll just work with you here. 1, 2, 3, an increase. 1, 2, 3, and an increase. 1, 2, 3, and your increase, and then 1, 2, 3, and our last increase. So that was the last round for increases. So for round 6 and 7, I want you to just to single crochet for the next 2 rounds. So put me on pause and get that done and meet me back here. Okay, so you did round 6 and 7. Now round 8 is pretty much the same, except when you get to your last stitch, we're going to stop because we're going to do an invisible join to make it nice and even. So just crochet around. So this is a good opportunity here for me now to thank everybody that's been supporting the channel by watching the videos and leaving a comment and a like and subscribing. I really appreciate it. It's a busy time of year, lots going on pretty much for everybody, so I will try to get videos up and posted as quick as I can, because I know this time of year too, people like to find some things to make for gifts and stuff. So I'll see what I can dig out of the old pattern stock and do up some tutorials. All right, so here we go. We're getting near the end. But yes, I really appreciate everybody's comments and the support of the channel. And hopefully I've been able to show you something that you can learn from, or something that gave you inspiration to modify and make your own. Okay, so we have 1 stitch left. So I'm going to just trim the tail I was using as my stitch marker and get rid of that. I'm also going to trim, because we're about to finish off with this yarn, I'm cutting off the yarn and I'm putting it on my needle here. Now, just pull up so that you take your hook out. So for an invisible join, we're going to put our needle in through the next stitch, and then we're going to come up through the loop, and we're going to go back in through the other side of the stitch that we had skipped. And then what you're going to see is, ta-da, it's an invisible join. You don't even see, you're not left with like a hump. And then we're just going to, down below a couple stitches, knot that off. And just kind of hide it a little bit. And then we'll just trim it off. So that's that part of the hat. The invisible join's pretty neat. Makes it tidy. So now for the brim of the hat, which is this part here, we are going to take our color of choice. I'm using my kind of glittery cream color, and we're going to attach our yarn, and I just usually make like a knot on my hook there, and I'm going to find roughly where that other invisible join was. Then I'm going to insert my hook and attach my yarn. Whoop, butterfingers. There we go. All right, so for round 1, we're slip stitching all the way around. Don't do it too tight, okay? So you just, hook goes in, pull the yarn through and through your stitch. And just do this all the way around, okay? So I'm kind of curious as to how many people like to make gifts for Christmas. or like to receive homemade gifts for Christmas. I just find it, not that other gifts, like if people take the time to find you something and get it and wrap it and stuff like that, not that that takes away from any of that. It's still, you know, it's the thought that counts. But when somebody puts the time and effort into making something they think you're going to like, they put their heart into it, and I find it just means a bit more. So you can see this round goes pretty quickly. And again, try not to pull it too tight. Oh, we got, he's all gathered up in the yarn here. And you'll see what we're doing with this here in a second. All right, so for round 2, so work this round through the back loops only of the slip stitches, plus through both loops of the main hat stitches. So we're going to chain 2. That's not my working yarn, that's the yarn that's going to stay inside. We're going to chain 2. Okay. So then we're going to skip the first stitch, double crochet in each remaining stitch. So you're going to take the back loop and the 2 stitches, or the 2 loops from the main colored part of the hat. So you're going to go in through this and these 2 and do a double crochet. This yarn may not have been the best. It seems to like to split a fair bit. But you see what I'm doing? I'm going in through the back loop and I'm getting the full stitch, the front and back loops of the hat, the main part of the hat. Oh, I need a double crochet. So yarn over. And this is what we're going to do all the way around. So if you want to put me on pause and work away at yours until you get to the end of the round, and we'll meet back there and we'll finish up this little guy. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm at the end and I'm going to just remove my yarn. I'm not fastening off. I'm going to do that invisible join just like I did before. So I'm going to go in through the top loop here, in through the loop from the stitch, pull it, and then go back in through. There we go. See? Nice and flat, you don't have your hump, and it looks like it's all, and then the starting yarn, we can just tie that in a knot with that. Then I'm going to just trim it down a little bit. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail because you'll see why. So now, there's our little hat that's going to go on top of his little head. See? But now we need to do the pom-pom. So all I do is cut a piece of the yarn that I'm going to make the pom-pom out of, have that on a needle sitting aside, and I just take this, because we don't want it to be a very big pom-pom, I just use 2 fingers, and I make sure I leave a little bit of a gap so that I'll be able to get my needle in through to secure the pom-pom, and just go around, I'd say about 20-30 times, wasn't counting. Just so that you know you're going to have a nice full pom-pom. So then I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to take my needle. This is why I put it on a needle. And I'm going to tie a nice tight knot. Try to get my fingers out of there. There we go. Tying a nice tight knot. Then I'm going to take my scissors and just cut the loops on each side. It doesn't have to be exact because you're going to kind of tidy this pom-pom up as you fluff it up and stuff. So see, you'll have a couple spots that might be a little longer than the other spots. So I just kind of give it a haircut, so to speak. Just to make it more uniform. Get rid of all my trimmings here. So now we're going to take this and attach it to the hat. And I just take the yarn that was there, pull that through. There's a smaller piece, which had I been smarter, I would have left that a little longer. And I'm going to put that down through, not through the same space, but just kind of beside each other. Then I'm going to take those two pieces and tie them nice and tightly. On the inside of the hat. I'm going to trim that off. And there's our little hat. Now what we're going to do this again because it looked like it was kind of loose. What we're going to do is I'm going to get a bit bigger yarn needle here. It has a bigger loop, bigger eye on it. We're going to take this here, the loop we had made with our white yarn on the top of the snowman's head. You're going to put his little hat on him. And this is going to go up I don't like where I've got that. I'm trying to find the I should have put, there's kind of, even though you do the invisible join, I find there's just, you can kind of tell where you stopped. So let's find the back of the hat. So the front will be roughly around here. Get them all tucked in. There's that. Now, what I like to do is once you get the hat situated, because this loop doesn't really hold the hat on, I take a bit of the yarn color that my hat, the main part of my hat is made out of. I put that on my yarn needle. And I just kind of, here and there, I'm going to leave a long tail here. You'll see why. And just every so often, very sneakily, so that you can't see where I've done it, I go around, just kind of anchors the hat to the snowball head so that it's not going to come off when you're all done, because you don't want the hat disappearing on you. And again, don't pull it too tight because you don't want to be able to see where you've done it. But see, now And then what I'm going to do is, now that I'm back here, is I'm going to just tie them together. But again, don't pull too tight. And then I'm just going to take the first one, pull it in through, snip it off so it's hidden, and do the same thing for the next one. Just very, very sneakily. And there you have your nice little snowman ornament. Isn't it cute? So no two are going to be identical, because when you put the eyes in or you stitch them and the such. But there you go. They're cute. I'm not sure if I'm too fussy on that white glitter yarn though. Anyway, so that's the snowman yarn. And once again, like always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you like it, give it a like. Let me know where you're watching from. I find that always interesting. And I appreciate you watching. I look forward to seeing the next video. And if you happen to make these, let me know. I'd like to know how you got along. All right, take care and happy crocheting. See you again. Bye-bye.